I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'11" and a half, but I was fighting guys that are 6'8". I was always hardcore. My mom and dad are tough. I'm from Eureka, Missouri, baby.
On this episode of the Leverett Ball Show, I'm joined by former New Jersey Devil Cam Janssen. Cam and I talk about his time as one of the toughest enforcers in the NHL and his current work as the co-host of the Cam and Strick Podcast. What was that transition like when you got selected for the OHL? What was that like? You were still in your teenage years, moving to Ontario. What was that whole experience like?
Well, we didn't even know what the OHL was. Like, I'm from Eureka. I'm actually from way out in the middle of the woods. And I didn't really know any of the steps that you needed to take to get to where the NHL level. Like, I didn't know about the Ontario Hockey League. I really didn't. We were very ignorant of everything. My mom and dad didn't play hockey. I was a first generation hockey player in the family. I didn't start till I was really young, like late, like 9, 10 years old, roller hockey. And I just loved it. The reason why I got into it is because of the Blues. My dad would take me to Blues games and I became obsessed with it. So I wanted to rollerblade all the time. I wanted to be Tony Twist, Kelly Chase, Brett Hall. I was obsessed with them. So everything happened really fast. And all of a sudden I'm playing AAA amateur blues in St. Louis. And I have agents and stuff talking to my dad during games because I'm scoring goals. I'm hitting guys. I'm crushing, doing what I'm supposed to do. And all of a sudden we're like, this team in Ontario, the Ontario Hockey League wants to draft you. And I'm like, cool. We're like, what is that? And so my agent's like, well, this is what it is. It's one of the best junior leagues in the world. And so everything came really fast. And all of a sudden I had to leave my high school in Eureka, all my friends and stuff, and then move to Canada and live with a billet family, which I didn't know what the hell that was either. And it just went like boom, boom, boom. Now you're in the OHL and you're getting a lot of attention. And it was quite an experience, but it was the best decision I've ever made. Like, yeah, I got to leave. They want me. I got drafted. I went up there for the draft right next to Dustin Brown. We had the same agent, me and D'Lo Brown, who was a first round pick, played for the Kings. He's going to be a Hall of Famer for the Kings, of course. He's going to be in the rafters. I think he already is. But it was just really quick. I didn't even know much about Canada, being from the middle of the United States. You know what I mean? It was a wake up call, but you had to go up there and suck it up and live with a family. And I was homesick and I had to fight people. Then I had to go to high school up there. So yeah, it was difficult, but it was the best decision. One of the best decisions I've ever made.
100%. And like I said, it paid off. Your story almost reminds me a little bit of a guy from a different sport in the baseball world, Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper chose to leave high school when he was 16 to pursue professional baseball. And, he's obviously paid off for him. He's won, MLB MVP awards, made a bunch of all-star teams, has a contract over $300 million. But, kind of similar. He went pro. He pursued pro sports even younger than you did. He was literally 16. But, for people like him or like you who decide to uproot their life as a teenager to pursue a career as a professional athlete, I mean, what advice would you have for anyone doing that? And also, what advice would you have for parents of athletes like that of how to help them navigate it?
Well, I'd say go to college. I rolled the dice, dude. Like, I rolled the dice, man. I didn't even I think I even left earlier than that. I was playing junior when I was 16 in high school in St. Louis. The North American Hockey League was here, and I got drafted by the St. Louis Sting. So I was going to high school and I was missing half the classes. I was a sophomore playing, and I'd have a pager. They'd give us a pager, and that's not allowed in the school. Like, I was just living in a different world. You know what I mean? And I got lucky. I got to stay in St. Louis for when I was a 16-year-old. I remember my dad dropping me off at practice. Then I'd go and I had to fight a guy that's 21 years old. You know what I mean? Like, in these games. So everything happened really fast. And then they're like, well, you got drafted to the OHL, then you got to move there. So we kind of put everything on the line. I stopped going to school. I rolled the dice. It's not a good decision. It all worked out. But if any advice, I'd say just look at your options. There's so many more options now. Everything was so vague back in the day. Like, I didn't know anything How many guys went to the Ontario Hockey League before me? Not many. Now you know exactly what's going on. So it was really it was a new experience if you didn't know the trend of hockey and what to do. These kids have so many different things now. They're traveling all over the place. But back in the 90s, early, mid 90s, it was a lot different. It was a desert, plain land. Like you didn't know what was going on. And they had people could come out and be like, Cam, you could have, like, but our family didn't know about it. So sometimes you got to break down some barriers, man. And now everybody's like, oh yeah, this is what you do. So it was awesome. It was unique. It was different. And, it was an emotional roller coaster. I'll tell you that.
I'll bet it was. I'll bet it was. But I mentioned you're drafted by the New Jersey Devils, and you made your NHL debut in 2005. But in your rookie season, you led the Devils with 11 fighting majors. And
Uh,
you're a guy. You had an offensive skill set and scored points, but also at times you were used as an enforcer. And I mean, was that something? The fighting aspect, was that something you got into in the pros, or were you always a fighter?
well, let me explain something. I scored points in AAA hockey. I started at 11 years old. I didn't even know the game. Like I
Yeah.
had to figure everything out so quick. So I had to rely on my skating ability and hitting guys and fighting. And then get the pucks off the wall. Like you got to know the little stuff to be able to compete. But I wanted to fight guys when I was 3 years old. I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'11" and a half. I rounded up to 6 foot, but I was fighting guys that are 6'8", and there's no weight class, but I loved it. I was always hardcore. My mom and dad are tough. I'm from Eureka, Missouri, baby. Tough, tough guys grew out of there. You're doing construction. You're in the military, hardcore, American through and through, tough guys. So I kind of was built around that. You know what I mean? So in hockey, I'm like, oh, cool. I could like stick up for myself. So I was fighting guys at a young age, and I built my confidence up doing that. So I just kind of took that with me. Most guys are just big and they're forced to do it. I wanted to do it. Maybe I'm psycho. I don't care. Like I love sticking up for teammates. I love at parties, like being a tough guy, which is embarrassing to think about it back in the day, but I always wanted to fight. So I just added it in, and I needed to be able to skate. So I was athletic enough to skate and be able to catch guys. But the game of hockey, I had to really figure out, man. Like no one was teaching me, like the coaches will, but my dad had no idea. He just pumped me up. So I just had to figure out how to get get off the wall, make a little sauce pass, dude, keep up with the pace, know where guys are open, make plays. But I wasn't scoring in the NHL, man. I went through 88 games, I think, without scoring a goal, but I was able to stay in the lineup because I was hitting and fighting, and it was kind of embarrassing, but finally you get your first goal, and it just, listen, I wasn't even supposed to make it. And so everything is just like a bonus for me. So you play 350 games, like all of it's a bonus. Like I shouldn't even have come close, but my parents were so good of pumping me up, and I figured it out, man. Every day was like, how do I get noticed? How do I do this? It was really, really crazy. And it aged me too. Imagine I have to fight guys
100.
every other night. Like, and then I had to go to high school
Seriously.
up there. I had to go to high school up there too. And you're very popular in town because you're like the guy, you get a lot of attention. So I had all these mixed emotions where I gotta go fight a guy, but you're getting all this attention. You're staying with a 70-year-old couple. They don't even know you. Like it was crazy, man.
Huh. That's something. Yeah, you had that role as an enforcer fighting people. That's why I had us do this interview on a video call and not in person, so you can't kick my ass. So like if I want to chirp you, you can't retaliate because we're on a video call.
Dude,
I can be like, fuck you, Bender, and you can't do anything about it. So yeah, that's why
well,
we
if
didn't
you
do
want to
this in
skate
person.
right now, I'll go dominate everybody in these leagues. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know how to do it now, but in the NHL it's different. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, man, I like there's a lot of stuff to chirp. Like we all get chirped, dude. You got
Yeah.
to be. It was a weird roller coaster ride. Like it is what it is.
No doubt about it. Well, when all jokes aside, I mean, what is the chirping like in the NHL? Is it just like vicious?
Yeah, sure. who cares, right? Like, everybody's so sensitive about everything. Although we all are sensitive in ways. Like, if I get chirped online because I put a post out, you look at it like, why are you chirping? And then usually people are pretty cool about it. They're like, no, I'm just playing around like we're in a locker room. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, like if you mess up, man, like people want to get you. Like they want to cancel you. They want, if you say something weird, they want to cancel you. So you got to watch that. You got to watch the army that wants to get you. And maybe they don't have any followers and fine. Like, so good, but they think their way's fine. And if you say something kind of goofy, they might come after you. So you really have to watch out on that. That's why I don't post that much stuff. Like I don't want to get got, you know, I don't want some kid from wherever, just like he's in a bad mood and he's going to retweet everything I say on my podcast. And so you got to really be wary of that. But you can't please everybody either. So you got to put on a show and entertain people. And hopefully somebody just doesn't get you and tie things together. So it's a weird concept, man, how this goes. It really is.
Definitely, definitely. And also, beyond the chirping in hockey, when you're fighting someone in an NHL game, I mean, lots of people have been in a fight, but it's on another level. I feel like when you're fighting someone on skates in front of a sold out arena. And I mean, when you're doing that, when you're fighting in an NHL game, are there certain thoughts that go through your head, or do you just kind of black out from the adrenaline?
It's a good question. So the lead up is the most difficult part, meaning, I mean, I was playing in front of my hometown. I grew up here. I went to high school in St. Louis, and then I played for St. So my family was there. My cousins are there, girls, guys, da, 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 da. And so you're looking at them like, I don't want to get embarrassed. So the lead up to the guy, Brian McGrattan, who's 6'6", throws monster bombs. He's going to knock you out. He wants to knock you out. And so like in the afternoon, I'm like eating my pregame meal, and I'm like, I gotta think of him. And I'm like, then I go down, I drive down the game, like, what's up? Say hey to everybody, high five, get in the locker room, get boo boo, and then get your mind right. And also when I get on the ice, I'm like, screw the world, man. I don't give a damn. I'll fight anybody. Let's go. And so you just gotta block everything out. But leading up to that stresses me out. I'm probably like I'm 42 years old now, but I feel like I'm 62, probably because of that kind of stress, where I know this guy could kill me. He could kill me in front of my family. And it's just a horrible scenario that you have to deal with throughout that whole day and night and however long. And then all of a sudden you get on the ice, you're like, I don't give a damn, baby. Let's go. And then you go toe to toe. And afterwards you feel euphoric high that you can't replicate.
Wow. And so, yeah, once you're in the moment, you kind of block out
Get
all
out
those
of it. Just like
intrusive
if somebody
thoughts.
comes and robs your house. Like you guys
Yeah.
you're like, what? Like I gotta protect my baby. Like I gotta protect my
Yeah.
wife, my puppies. Like no one's. You want to come in here? Like you gotta stop what you're doing and just go to work. Really is what it
The
is.
instincts take over. And I
Yes.
feel as though of all of the houses to break into, it'd be really dumb for someone to break into the house of an NHL enforcer while their family's there. That might end badly for them.
In any situation, like if you have to protect your family, I have to protect my teammates. So like the mindset is the same. Like, look, let's go. I'm gonna go this guy because if I don't, then he's gonna take advantage of my buddies who I love dearly, my teammates. So I got to take care of business. Let's go. I'm the man. Even though I'm 5'11", I don't give a damn. I'll go you. And that's how I was raised. So it is what it is.
100%, 100%. And, on the topic of fighting and also the ways that the NHL has changed recently, I mean, there's less fighting in the NHL now than when you played. And kind of a two-pronged question. I mean, do you think that the fewer fights in the NHL are bad for the game? And also, are there any ways that additional ways that the NHL has changed since your playing career that maybe you don't agree with?
What? No, listen, the NHL's in an unbelievable spot. My God, they made $8 billion this year. I just was up there for a media training camp with all the NHL execs. They're the nicest. They got such a good thing going. You got ex-players doing media. You got all the game is great. It's fast. It's skilled. There's still tough stuff going on. There's still big hits. Everything's in a perfect world. They want to expand They want to go back to Atlanta. They want Houston. The NHL is in an unbelievable spot. I love the game. I love the way the guys are more skilled now, way quicker, but they're still tough. And so you keep that element. You watch the World Cup, which I'm obsessed with because I love people competing for their own country, but they're flopping everywhere. They're like, nah, like hockey's not that way. They're tough still. Maybe they play video games instead of going out. Who cares? I don't want them going out. That's how they get in trouble. I want them to play video games and go out there and perform every single night. So the NHL, in my opinion, is in an unbelievable spot. They still have a little bit of balance of everything. So yeah, do I miss the two heavyweights like Bugard and McGrattan going? Yeah, damn right. But it's different and it evolved in a good way. So the NHL is doing well and they're succeeding and they want to expand more. So how can I complain?
100%. And yeah, it's become so popular in the mainstream.
Yes.
Hockey has it.
Olympics,
Yeah.
4 nations, they're fighting, like everybody's watching that. That's awesome. They're like, these guys are cool as hell. And they're all down to earth. And some guys have podcasts, some guys have this. But if you really get to know the NHL, they're all cool for the most part. 99% of them are cool as hell. And you could talk to them like we're talking right now and just be real. And so that it's all going in the right direction.
Also, I mentioned obviously your time with the New Jersey Devils, but later in your career, you made a homecoming because I mentioned, you were from a St. Louis suburb and then you went and played for the St. Louis Blues after the Devils. I mean, what was it like going home to play?
Oh, it was a euphoric high, but then when you get down, you're down. So the roller coaster ride of that was crazy. So I lived like 3 different lives. I had my life with the team, and I had to do all these different things with Bobby Plager and Chaser and Twister, and we'd all go build up this team because we were real young. The theme was "Come grow with us," and I was part of the youth movement. Being from St. Louis, being the first one ever to make it, be the first one ever to play for the Blues too. I was put in a spot, and then my buddies and my family wanted me to do stuff. So like you're just getting pulled in different directions, like blah blah blah. But God Almighty, the things I'm able to do now. That trade from the Devils to the Blues was the best thing probably ever happened to me because you come here. If I play for the Devils, no one really knows you here. But you play for the Blues, you're like, bam, spotlight. They have you going everywhere. I know everybody in this town. Everybody's sweet. The Blues fans are so nice. You could monetize yourself in a way, meaning if you're nice to people and you bring a product to somebody, they'll pay you to do things. And so you take advantage of that in a good way. You know what I mean? So that's why I always want to stay here. I live on a golf course 50 miles away from St. Louis. We have nothing but coyotes and deer and bobcats and birds and whatnot. And I love it so much. So, I got lucky when it comes to that, but you have to be nice to people. And, you could be an ass and no one wants to deal with you. But if you're good to people always want to hire you for something. And so, you really got to take advantage of the moment and just be good to people, man. It's really that simple, just so you know.
Did you have a favorite teammate during your playing career?
His name is Eric Bolton. Me and him were competitive because he'd play games and I'd play games and we're both tough guys. But I love that guy so much. And he is the sweetest, nicest human being ever. And we were competitive with each other. And it just shows that sometimes when your teammates, usually you don't root, like, yeah, he did good. Well, you took my job and now I'm losing money because of you. But we became such good friends. And it just shows that you can be competitive with each other and still be best buddies. His name's Eric Bolton. He's the funniest son of a gun you'll ever meet in your life. He is and he's the toughest guy. He'll knock you out so fast. He is so tough, like he'll knock you out. Look him up, by the way, all you out there. Look up his highlights. But if you hung out with him, I'd be like, hey, Bolts, we're at dinner. Like, Bolts, you won't eat that whole stick of butter. I'll give you $20. You're like, what? Take the whole butter, like, wow. I'm like, oh my, I didn't even mean for that. Here, take my money, but I didn't even mean for you to do just he just a sweet guy. And I always wish like the guys like that, man, like that, even if you're in a business, scenario where you're competing against somebody else, but you're best friends, that is such a unique thing to have. And sometimes that always happens in hockey and maybe some other sports. I don't know. But he was one of my truly favorite guys in the world. And we competed against each other. So I just think that doubles the value, in my opinion.
Also, we talked about podcasting, in addition to appearing on different podcasts, you co-host the Cam and Strick podcast. You co-host that with a longtime NHL reporter, Andy Strickland. And, what has your experience been like, being on the other side, interviewing podcast guests?
That's a good question. Well, we've done this since 2019, and it was right after Chicklets kind of blew up, and then we started it. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're going to be Chicklets?" Like, no, we're going to do our own thing. And we get Hall of Famers on. We get, owners, GMs, presidents. We get everybody. If you look at our list, we have 400 of them. Look at who we've had on. It's unbelievable, the guests we get on. But Andy and I talk for an hour and a half. We make fun of each other, like we talk about. We're business partners, but we chirp each other and belittle each other, which is people love. They love when I chirp him. They love when he gives it back to me. And so we have that. And then we do an hour long segment with whoever, meaning it could be George McPhee, who we just had on, the president of the Vegas Golden Knights. We had Wayne Gretzky on our 99th episode, like stuff like that. So we got into it really, really early. People were chirping us a little bit because Chickless was the only one. Now you have all these podcasts on. So we got in the game quick, and every week we put out a product.
What platforms are your podcasts on? And also, what are your social media handles that people can follow you at?
Well, Cam Janssen 25 on Twitter, Cam Janssen _25 on Instagram. I got 2 different Facebook accounts. My personal one, I invite everybody. I open up my messages. You guys have any questions for me? Just type in Cam Janssen, you'll find it. They're all check marked for the most part. So, and yeah, we post that. I do all kinds of different stuff. If you want to reach out to me about questions of anything, I keep everything open. So I love hanging out and talking to the fans and people. And sometimes you get to know people, and all of a sudden you become friends with them too. So everything's open with me, man. I'm an open book. You ask me anything, we'll take care of it. And I love doing that.
For any big fans of your hockey career or your podcast, or, young hockey players who are kind of on the come up the way you were during your teenage years, I mean, what advice would you have for them?
Be good to people. You have to balance, listen to your parents and then listen to your coaches. You can't have your mom and dad say, your coach is wrong. No, there's a balance to everything. You got to listen to everybody. If somebody's critiquing you of something, there's always something to it. Don't be like, oh, you know what he's talking about. No. There's always something to it. Anytime you get critiqued, you have to look at that and be like, maybe I do have to change a little bit of something. Not all of it, but there's something there. So just listen to people. Don't blow off everybody like, I'm better than everybody. Don't do that shit. Listen to what people have to say about you, and then take it back and look at it and be like, yeah, maybe I should fix this. Maybe I should fix that. And 100%. Be nice to people. Be nice to people. If you're nice to people, people will take care of you. Just telling you.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Also, I think be nice to people regardless of where they are on the totem pole, because they might someday, someone who's lower on the totem pole in their career might someday be higher than you. That's why,
how about even if that's not the case, like you made their day.
Right.
You made that person's day.
Yeah.
Like he or she will never forget that. You were nice to them. So even though you don't remember that, they will remember that for the rest of their life. Like that's what you want to be. You don't want to be like, take care of people.
100%.
That guy, that family that you just were nice to, like they'll never forget that. Maybe their kid's going to be like, I want to play in the NHL. That's what happened to me. Like little things that you do for people could take them to the next level. And all of a sudden you were a part of that. That's what we need in life. We want good people doing good things and accomplish. That's what we want.
Absolutely. I think in society there are too many people trying to tear other people down. We need to build
No.
other people up.
Listen, there's times to be chirpy. It's funny, and I get that. But like, if you're really sincere and really want to help people, like that's, I don't know. I see more of that, and I'm like, God dang. Like I see people crawling out of a hole, like kids with cancer. They're like, I'm gonna do something now, and they do. Otherwise, they'd be stuck like that. I'm like, there's just so much to it, man. So if you're just good to people, but if somebody's not good to you, then get away from them.
Yeah.
Get away from me. I'm not nice to you if you're not good to me, because
Yeah.
I'm nice to you. Why are you not nice? I don't get that. So if you're not, then you're not a good person. Get away from me.
100%.
Shove away the bad people, bring in the good, and help them out.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, I think, for anyone, tuning in. And I think more people need to have that exact mindset that you have. But, like I said, Cam, it's been awesome having you on the podcast. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, that was our guest, Cam Janssen.